Hey there, my name is Morgan with Morgan on the Violin, and this is a quick and dirty review of a Stentor 1500 student violin, student 2 violin. This is a, depending on where you buy it, $200 to $250 violin. It comes with violin, bow, and case, and rosin, and that's it. Typically, you'll most likely see this at Music and Arts, which is kind of the Walmart of music stores. Alrighty. Should you buy it? I would not recommend purchasing it. No, it's not. I mean, you can do worse, but you can also do better for the money. So that's the main reason why I wouldn't recommend purchasing it. I generally recommend $240 as a minimum for these instruments as an outfit for a beginner, just to make sure that you're getting something that's had enough effort put into it that it is actually playable and going to sound decent enough that's not going to hurt you or your child, whoever's going to be playing and learning on it. And this does meet that price threshold. However, it does not really quite do as well as I know can be done for that price threshold, both in terms of tone quality as well as the setup. One of the biggest issues is the bridge. I mean, these instruments are cheap to begin with. The bridges aren't carved by particularly skillful luthiers. However, that said, I know you can do better for a bridge on an instrument this price. This bridge, what's the main issue is that it's too thick at the top and it's flat. They haven't done any effort to round it off and smooth it up. It's also a little too thick down here in the feet. And why that's a problem is because, one, when this is too wide, then the contact area between the string and the bridge is too wide, and that's going to dampen the string some, and you're going to lose some of the voice of the instrument that way. But two, all this thickness up here all the way down through the feet, it's extra mass in the bridge, and all that extra mass in the bridge also means that you're going to lose sound quality when playing this instrument. Another big issue, the fingerboard is meant to be scooped, and this fingerboard is scooped. However, it is scooped too much. And the problem that creates is when you're trying to play on it, you have to work harder with your fingers to actually get good stoppage of the string. So you can see the professional violin. And then right after that, we have a comparison with the Shar concert violin. The gap is very, very slim. When we get to the Stentor, now you can see that there's certainly a much larger gap. And it doesn't look like much, but it does make a very big difference. And in fact, on the A and the E string, I can get some decent sound, but on the D string, I have to work extra hard just to actually sound out a note. Generally what happens is that after I move from the A and the E string, the D string suddenly, it just goes really hoarse because my fingers aren't able to stop the string fully. And I have to work harder. And you don't want to have to work harder to play the violin. Especially if you've got a kid who's learning, you don't want them to have to work harder, but even you don't want to have to work harder to play the violin. So the over scoop of the fingerboard is a bit of an impairment. I actually got the correct string height here at the end of the fingerboard, 3.5 millimeters for the E and 5 millimeters for the G, but because of that exaggerated scoop up here, it's just not pleasant to play on. Another thing, going for the sound quality standpoint, this does have actually different strings from what it would normally come with. Normally it would come with, I think, Diodario Prelude strings, which are actually a good string. It's like a $12 string set, $15 string set. So for a beginner string, that's an appropriate string to have on this instrument. So that's one thing they did do right with the Stentor 1500. This has been swapped out for super sensitive red labels, which are about the same price-wise, a little bit different string, but then it's got a dominant G string down here. This G string, for those of you who don't know, is by itself worth more than the other three strings. Even with this dominant G string on here, the low end on this violin sounds horrible. It sounds better on the A and the E string, but when you get to the D and the G, the tone quality completely tanks. There's some other little things about this that also just kind of tell you that whoever made this instrument really wasn't too concerned about the quality of their work. So to give you an example, the nut up here, the string spacings are actually a little wider than what they would normally be. You can actually see even the G string is pushed pretty close to the edge. And here's a Shar concert for comparison. Also down here with the bridge, the springs are spaced a little wider than normal. They also kind of have a little bit of an unevenness to them, which is not something that you want. Now, these aren't the kind of things that are going to make a big impact necessarily on playability, especially for a beginner, but they show how much effort and attention was not put into this instrument when, you can spend about the same amount or a little bit more and get something that had a little bit more care put into the quality of the build. As to the bow and the case, the bow is actually pretty respectable for a bow. They did a pretty good job on the bow. It's well built, well haired, it looks nice, it's straight, it's wood. So the bow is solid in this outfit. The case is also pretty solid in this outfit. It's really just down to the violin itself. So my students swapped this out for a little bit more expensive instrument. It's $350 for a Franz Hoffman concert violin from Shar Music. She likes that a lot more. She's an adult learner. If you go to either Shar Music or Fiddlershop, bundled pupils, all three of these brands, they have violins that are around $240, $250, same price as this. And you're going to get a shoulder rest, and you're going to get a violin that's actually better set up and going to sound a little better than this instrument does. So it's at the price point that I recommend that you not spend below, but even being at that price point, it's really not the best use of that money. You can do better. All right, thank you for watching. If you got value out of that, please hit like. Lets other folks know that it's worth watching. Hit subscribe, lets me know I should keep making these. I also have a Patreon page, link below in the description. You can help me do this because it takes time and energy, and I like to actually purchase instruments. I have a Mendini 500, Mendini, I don't know, a violin downstairs that I purchased with my own money for $200 that I'm going to do a review on here soon. It's going to be a lengthy review because there is a lot to talk about with that little $200 violin. Your support on Patreon helps me to do that. Thank you.